All right, so I just got out of my hot bay ceremony, feeling much better. Just to give you guys an idea, this is what like my intention card from my hot bay ceremonies, and then I write on the back after I get out. But just to give you guys an idea, over the past year and a half, these are my ceremonies. So a year and a half ago, I'm trying to think however it came about. Anyways, on my journey, I ended up signing up for this class on spirit guides, how to talk to your spirit guides, right? And through that class, I had like 3 different spirit guides that had shown themselves, revealed themselves to me, communicated with me. And right about that same time, I had done a ceremony out in the national forest there. I think was the first time. It might have been in my room, but I think the first time was out in the national forest. Anyways, I did this ceremony and I was possessed. I embodied Thoth. If you don't know, he's oh God, I can't even begin to go into who Thoth is, but anyways, I embodied Thoth. I was doing my ceremony and I came back, my mouth open, and this essence, this energy entered me. It was like it was something like you would see in a movie. Like, I mean, the feeling, again, it all goes back to feeling, and it entered me, and immediately it just came. Like, I hadn't thought about the word Thoth, really since I was a kid, and you learn about Egyptian history and stuff, and so as soon as this, because it just came into me, and it went, and I immediately knew Thoth, right? And I immediately went into like this trance state where it was just a movie playing in my third eye, and it was just all Egyptian, all kinds of stuff, Thoth and Nefertiti and the pyramids and the Sphinx and the jackal. I can't even remember all this Egyptian stuff, right? It blew me away. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on the, I'm cracking the code. I'm figuring this out, right? And so it was like a day or two later, I did another ceremony, and this time I purposely invited Thoth back in for more, so I could get more insight, enlightenment on whatever I was being shown. And so again, I was embodied by Thoth again and shown more Egyptian stuff. Well, after that, I haven't embodied Thoth since then. I had a whole range of Egyptian stuff coming to me though in my ceremonies, and in like insights and stuff throughout the day, and I was really on like this whole trip of like trying to figure this out. Thought this was like the answer, right? Like this was the enlightenment that I was being revealed these secrets and all of this stuff. And so I was really delving into it, right? I wanted to get to the bottom and see what was going on and what I needed to know and how it was emwebbed in this current life and all of this stuff, man. And I had so many, over the course of months, I had so many different things come up and come through. I paid this guy, a Akashic Records reader, to read my Akashic Records. That was mind-blowing again. It was almost like, it's almost like all this information is out there, and when you tune into it, or these people that are tuned into it, they're able to see it just like they're just picking the information, like a card catalog. They're just picking through the information, and I mean, it's mind-blowing. It really is. And it's so easy to get caught up in that whole thing, and then just give yourself over to these spirit guides. Well, let me back up. So before signing up for the spirit guide class, right, what was coming into my awareness before I even had ever, before I had even really known what spirit guides were, I always thought all these whack jobs out there, and everything, and living in La La Land. And then, so I was trying to connect. I was like, well, if I have spirit guides, let me connect this. So this was before all that. And what I kept on getting told the whole time, like in the back of my head, and I didn't know where it was coming from, right? But it would just come, trust yourself, like constantly. I'm like, what the hell? And what is this? Like, trust yourself, believe in yourself, love yourself. I kept on getting that, like, over. So then I went down this path of the spirit guide thing, right? And the whole time, like, so once I was opened up and introduced to these spirit guides through this class, when I would sit in my ceremonies, depending on my ceremonies, some of my ceremonies are for, clearing energy. Some of them are for, trusting in myself. Some of them are for this. Some of them, there's like probably 50 different things, right? Well, probably about 25 different things. And so the ones I would do where I was, tuning into my spirit guides to get guidance or revelations or whatever from them, right? That would help me on my journey, that applied to my journey, what I needed to know that would further me on my journey, right? That would help me on my path right now. These spirit guides were very, very, it was almost like so come to find out what it was that was saying trust yourself the whole time, and that was my higher self. And at that time I didn't know that. And so when I opened up to these spirit guides and started communicating with my spirit guides, it was almost like this is what it was. It is like a child coming to another adult for help with their parents standing there, and the other adults looking at the parent like, I really shouldn't get involved. Give me 1 second. Okay. I really, it was like the spirit guides, you could feel like, this isn't my position. I don't have authority here. Like, so it was like that feeling, which was interesting. And then I really got in connection with my higher self and understood in what that was, and that you know, how important that was to go through everything else. And I had you know, so very limited communication with my spirit guides for this few months that I went through that period. And it just slowly got less and less and less of communication with them and visualizations of them and the feeling of them, right? And I had one spirit guide that, and this one was really, really cool on my path. This one really helped me at a deep, dark time that I really needed somebody or something there for me. And, you know, her name was Kyoto, and she appeared to me as a pixie or a fairy, and she was extremely playful and lighthearted and just very tender and loving. You could just, those were the energies. But playful, I mean, she bouncing everywhere, and she would call me silly. I mean, I had probably a dozen different times where I communicated with her, and you know, she would just call me, you know, she would answer a question and then just, she would always be like, silly, you know, come on, silly. And anyways, so after a few months of that, you know, it really just died off. And I was like, man, this is so weird. Like, I'm getting further along my path, and you would think that this would strengthen my relationship with these beings that are supposed to be there to help me and guide me, right? But I'm being told by my higher self to trust myself the whole time, right? So I just sort of let it go, you know, and I just communicate, and that's when I really, man, my alignment and my ability to be able to communicate or be, not have any blocks between me and my higher self, right? And so I really just let the whole spirit guide thing go. But I'm outside of that whole weird thing with spirit guides, and I'm looking in, and I'm just looking, and over the past years since then, you know, it's very strange, because you wonder, I really wonder, and this ties into what I'm trying to put on to these pegboards with how this system operates, because what I've seen is that most people who haven't, like me, who hadn't been open to spirit guides at all, and whatever, anybody new in that realm of existence, most people are introduced into the Egyptian sphere of it, and that is what is brought to them first, and which I found really strange. I was like, that's so weird. And then, you know, they go off and they find their, you know, whether they're Lyrian or Palladian or whatever, reptilian or whatever they are, right? And they I mean, then people get lost. But it was like my authority, no matter what I get into, there's no fear in me that I'm going to open a door that I can't close, or invite something in that I can't tell to leave. There's just no fear in me, because I have so much authority over my mind, my heart space, and this body, other than, you know, whatever is Trojan horsed into right here that I'm dealing with. So I see like how people just follow, like it's so easy for people to get sideswiped on these things and just fall into following them and spending the rest of their lives on these paths, right? but mine didn't lead me there. You know, they knew better. It's like our authority, our higher self, if we accept it and embrace it, there's all these other powers out there, all these other entities, all these other energies out there are they know not to fuck with it, with that strong spirit. They just know that, like, it is not their place. Like I said, it's like a child coming to a stranger in front of their parent while their parents standing there and asking the stranger for help, and the stranger's going, that's not my place. You know, that's what it's like from my experience. I have entered into Christ consciousness several times now. That's absolutely an amazing space to be in. That is a powerful, amazing, like, expansive space to be in. Beautiful, powerful space to be in. I've journeyed through the astral and the celestial, and don't ask me to tell you the difference from my perspective. I'm not even going to get into it, because these things are, until they come back around, the spirit guides may come back around. I don't know. I'm getting ready to get this exorcism. Maybe whatever this is keeping me from that communication. I don't know. So all these things might come back around. They might not. Maybe I've taken and gleaned everything I need from them, and you know, and that's done, and I don't have to. I don't know. We're gonna see. So that's why I don't spend a lot of effort, energy, and time trying to distinguish all these different, because when you get into it, everything you get into on these planes, if you go on YouTube or anywhere else, these people have these planes mapped out so unbelievably detailed. It's like, what the fuck, man? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, really? And so I'm thinking, what I am thinking is that a lot of this is just all the false light and dark matrix dichotomy that they try to make us choose, and be like, you know, Jesus and Satan, right? And light and dark, and then they get us to play in this loop, you know. Okay, ooh, team light, team dark, team Jesus, team Satan, team good, team bad, you know, and all these stupid things. And then, but within that, it doesn't matter. They don't care, because you're still feeding into the system. You're still, you know, blindly and just giving yourself over to the overarching system that we're in, that is just all about slavery and devaluing who you are. And so that, you know, and so that is an issue. That is a major issue, because when I see these love and light people, and these people who, you know, that's all they do is spirit guide stuff, and they channel, and they do this and that, and I look at them and I'm like, none of them are telling you to get rid of your shit. None of them are telling you or exposing the evilness and the corruption within the systems. And I'm not talking about the big government and the big religions. I'm talking about your individual life, as in your vehicles were made by slaves, your house was made by minimum wage workers, you're fueling all this money, you're just fueling this system. Everything you're doing is, and you look at these people that are just all about this love and light and spirit guides and channeling, and positive, just be positive, happy, joy, and it's just so fake. It's like they're again, it's like just that's like the dopamine. They're just fueling, you know. And so yeah, I've traveled through the astral, celestial. I've done I do still to this day I do uh I can allow my light to shine, right? Like bright. My aura, I can take my aura out, all kinds of things, and I still work on that because that's my light being, that's my light body, that's my higher self working in conjunction with my higher self, it, to expand my spiritual consciousness, right? And within my own spiritual consciousness, I just don't see how there's 50 different realms within that, the astral, celestial, and all this, and everybody knows about it, and they're all working on it, and they're all working with the Galactic Federation of Light, and they're working with, you know, you got that group over there, and then you got this group over here who are working on the quantum physics level of bliss and fighting the dark evil forces of AI and all of this. But everybody, I haven't seen anybody. I've looked at every angle of that sphere, into every little part of that, and everybody is just so happy and content with, you know, having rulers over them, enjoying their little breads and circuses, eating poisonous food, toxic food, you know, just all of it. Like, they're just so fine with it. I'm like, this is not it, guys. That's not my path. And I'm like, my path is the truth, and this is not truth. This is blowing a bunch of smoke up people's asses to just get them in good emotions and feeling good, and feeling like instead of giving these people, instead of focusing so much on like presidents and religion and pastors and stuff, they're giving all their authority over to spirit guides and whatever's coming through, you know, to give them information from God knows where, but keeping themselves within this. I don't know how it doesn't cause cognitive dissonance, you know, because and that's what I'm saying. I just really get this feeling that all that stuff's wrapped up within this false matrix system. And so I've had all these experiences, you know, and man, you know, that feeling of bliss, like when I don't know if you've ever experienced bliss in a meditation before, but oh my God, is that something else, man? I mean, if you, you know, and there's people that get lost in that and just want to spend their life in bliss. And I guess where I'm just, you know, I just don't want I don't want any of that false, fake, emotional diaper bullshit, man. I want the truth. I want the root. I want to uncover this root of what's going on. And although all of that has led, all it's done is expose itself and to me. And again, I never had a bad experience with my spirit guides. It was a very short time period, you know, where I was in communication with them. I just see it as exposure, and that's why they're so cautious to make themselves known to me or to expose themselves to me, is because it's like they know that I'm not there to hero worship. I'm not there to worship anything. I'm there to work symbiotically to heal this land, this space, that is occupied spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to cut the bullshit, cut the middleman, cut the liaison bullshit. Let's get right to it. This is our birthright. You're telling me I was born an eternal soul inside of the most advanced physical system on earth, and I got to rely on fucking pixies and fairies and this and that and ancient this and that. And I'm like, come on, man. Also, I've also tapped into my ancestors. I've tapped into my own Akashic records. That was an amazing thing. And saw my Akashic records and tapped into those, and I've seen past lives and different things that I've went through. But I've sat in ceremony with my ancestors, and sat in ceremony, holding their hand, like physically holding their hands, feeling their presence, and most of the time it would be around a huge fire in a forest, with American Indians, right? And that ancestral connection is very, very legitimate to me. That's a very legitimate connection that I can feel. So again, maybe that I haven't really, maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago was the last time. Maybe once every couple weeks, sometimes maybe a few times in a week, where I'll connect in my ceremonies like that with them. What else? I'm just trying to get everything out there that I've experienced over the past year and a half with this stuff, just that you guys can know that I've traveled down these paths and seen what I needed to see and gleaned what I needed to glean from it. And I guess by me doing this video now, exposing what my experience and my observations were with them. What else would apply here? Let's see here, guys. I guess that's really about it. I don't ever have and have not had, in the past year and a half, since opening myself up to this to the spiritual side like that, and that was very hard for me to do because of my religious upbringing and and all that. And then, man, when I was possessed by Thoth, it was like, oh my God, what the fuck, is this evil, is this bad? But again, that was the whole me having to break that religious dogma and experience for myself and see what it was all about, and then use my own intuition and faculties of my mind to be able to use my discernment on whether these things are beneficial or good for me and my path, or if they're superfluous and non-essential. And so I just sort of let all those things go, and I've just not really forcing too much. When they started disappearing at first, I couldn't figure it out, so I was trying to force there for about a month or whatever it was, and like, why am I not, hey guys, we were talking the other day, and now there's no communication. And so, and I really got into there for a few weeks, maybe a few months, during that time, the whole Egyptian thing, and researching that and seeing what was going on, and what was trying to be communicated, and all of that stuff, man. And it's just, again, it just all seems to play into the false system, like all of that, everything outside of you, outside of your higher self, your spirit, your soul, your this body you inhabit in this mind, the ego. Outside of that, man, everything else is just, it really does seem to be superfluous, even though those things were part of my journey to be able to clear blockages, to heal wounds, to make breakthroughs, to comprehend that there's, that the 4-minute mile can be broken, right? To break through all those things, it was part of my journey. But as something that that needs to be incorporated into my life, that is necessary, like I need these things for answers, I need these things to guide me. My higher self has been guiding me since, and I just see everybody, it's just amazing. Because the other thing that when you go down that path is they say you have financial blocks, like because of a poverty mindset, right? Because you grew up poor, and so then I was like, okay, let me address this. Let me really look into this and see if I'm just blocking myself for money, if I am just have a poverty and I had a poverty mindset. I had that sense of lack, that fear of constantly, not having enough money, or, money hates me, and being a repellent for money. And I broke through all those things and addressed them and acknowledged them. But at the end of it all, I was like, I don't want money. What the fuck, man? This is the money. Okay, so I got through the blocks, the poverty mindsets, got through being literally a negative magnet for money. And I was like, okay, I accept this, and it just wasn't right. It just wasn't right. I'm like, no, I don't want money. That's not what I want. This is not my goal, to get money so that way I'm comfortable and then I can just be happy all the time, because this physical body is just constantly dopamined and comforted and just like treating myself like a king physically. But it just seems like that's all operating within that system, man. I don't see how you can get away from it. Like, they justify it, and they do. Every single one of them justifies it. And they have 100 different ways that they justify it. Just like the Christians, they have 1,000 different ways they justify submitting themselves under this all-loving, all-powerful God, while all this suffering, not even everybody else's, their own suffering, and in the loop that they're in, going to work and giving all their time, energy, attention, which is worshiping work, worshiping the dollar, worshiping their TV, worshiping fear, worshiping their dopamine hits, worshiping their energy drinks, worshiping their toxic, poisonous, processed foods, worshiping all of this stuff that, if you're honest about it, it's all just distraction, and it's all poisonous to this physical system. So yeah, and then through dreams, lucid dreaming, I was big kick there for even last year through the winter. Months and months, every night I would play lucid dreaming tracks on through my YouTube thing. I listened to it at night, and so I was lucid dreaming like crazy, and I was like, okay, let me see what kind of messages I can get and what kind of guidance I can get. And it was all just. It's like when I'm in these things, that inner knowing, that soul just knows, and it's like, okay, which is comparable to how the soul, when you're out here and you're engaging in these activities that are not correct, but it's okay because it's legal and everybody else is doing it. but your soul's like, I don't know, you really shouldn't be. It's the same thing, and it's like all of this is a distraction, and it just reinforces in me. I mean, I'm telling you guys, every step of my path has reinforced how unbelievably powerful and important we are, what is contained within us, what this actually is, with having this eternal, all-knowing, all-powerful soul connect to everything on that level, embodying this physical avatar, this advanced biological system. And it's just like all of that just falls under the category of false, of brokenness, of unwholeness. And I just keep coming back to myself, because I like I said, I completely dedicated myself to authenticity and truth. And these things are out there, and I just can see, just like everything else, how how these people who lifetime alcoholics who go on AA, and then they, that whole AA scam bullshit that gets you subservient and looking at yourself as lower, and chastising yourself, and I'm just doing the best I can today, and just get through another day, and then go to your support group. It's all the same shit. They're doing the same thing with these entities and these playing these astral games and celestial games. It's like, come on, man. If these powers that they, like these guys who are working on these celestial and astral planes to defeat the I can't remember, it's like the archons and but they call it the guys, man, the guys who are really like trying to sell this whole thing on fighting against this AI black matrix Saturn cube system, right? Through the astral plane, and seeing it all on that level. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. All I can say is, if you're fighting on that plane, but you're still poisoning this physical vessel that you're supposed to be in charge of and occupying, what is that saying? Like, something just isn't connecting there for me. And again, it might all come back around with a more clear perspective on things. I'm not sure, but if at any time when it does come back around, if it goes against my own authority and authenticity and who I am and the power and the birthright that was given to me, then I see it as false. I see it as, okay, it may be true, right? It may be true, but it doesn't make it right, And now I'm getting ready here in the next hour, I think, get my exorcism done. I've been waiting for this energy healing, like I said, to get these entities removed, because supposedly what he's going to do is he works on the energetic level. It's going to be through a phone call. I think he's from like North Carolina or South Carolina or something, but it works through a phone call. And he goes into your energetic system, and he pulls out these parasites, right? These energetic parasites. And when he pulls them out, he stitches up your energetic body, so that way it's these wounds now are not open. And then, just any, like, let's say I go walk out in the city here, and walking past all these people with all these issues and all these demons hanging on them that are just waiting for other vessels and new things to take over, right? To feed off of. So he stitches up that energetic body, and then it is up to you, me, to, from there, conduct myself appropriately, so that way I do not invite any more entities or parasites in to get back into these systems. So that's how that works, right? And again, so I'm going to experiment. I was trying to experiment with those two women up in Pennsylvania there a few years ago. But again, I was so, man, I know they were overwhelmed. I mean, I was a mess. I was carrying so much shit with me, so many parasites and demons and alters and egos and characters, and oh my god, they must have just been like, this guy is a fucking wreck. But you know, so this is how my journey has gone, is I realize these things, I recognize these things, just like with the what I'm doing now with establishing my authority within this governmental system and treasury system. You know, I found out about that like a dozen years ago, and I've kept my eye on that, and I always want to do it, but you know, the guys that I saw that were showing how to do that, I just got a weird feeling about them, and they were using all this lingo and jargon, and they just seemed married to the systems. Something just didn't seem right. So, you know, for 12 years I've been wanting to do that, and you know, thankfully through my patience and allowing my path to unfold, and through my healing and tearing off these false layers and these getting rid of these parasites and these entities and these demons throughout the years now, that came back around for me. And when it did, man, it came back around in a way, guys, that was so perfect, so right. And so that's where I'm at with that. And so what was I speaking on prior to that? So that thing with Tina and Karen, and they didn't take me on as a client. I didn't push it. I just said, okay, well, let me bounce around, find my own path, you know, try this and that. And that's what I did until I came across this guy, you know, a couple weeks ago, whatever it was. And I knew immediately, I jumped. I was like, this is my time. This is the now. This is the person I'm supposed to be allowing to do this energetic work on me. And yeah, so, you know, through that patience in the process and not forcing, and we'll see what happens. I'll let you guys know. You know, definitely. I'm just trying to think if there was any, I mean, there were so many different experiences I had in the spirituality world. But yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at now. Really, the only thing that I really do anymore, as far as, you know, that realm goes, is I did enter into Christ consciousness, I think a few days ago. I do let my light shine. I build my light body. I strengthen my light body. I embody my light body with confidence and courage and with purpose. I'm, you know, I embody my higher self. In ceremonies where it's time for me to sit with my ancestors, you know, I still do that. But otherwise, you know, all the spirit guides and the celestial and astral traveling, I don't know, it just doesn't apply. None of that seems to have any kind of application, especially with the way that they got 50 layers broken down, and these people got those layers all mapped out and everything. It just does not, it just seems like a big distraction to me in hoopla, because it doesn't play into anything that is going on for what we're dealing with as far as being slaves inside of this matrix system, and reclaiming our birthright and establishing our authority, right? That's what it seems like to me. But yeah, I hope that maybe that helped clear some things up, maybe, you know, give you guys an idea that of, you know, all the different paths I've, you know, tested out and tried, and along my own journey, and seen what I gleaned from it, and and those are the conclusions at the moment I've come to. But again, if it doesn't pass the test of 100% truth and authenticity, and if it seems like it's trying to get me to just go along, and it's going to give me all these little blessings and all these little joys and all these little comforts and this group of people to hang out with, and like-minded people, man, you can keep all that horse shit, man. That's not what I want a group of people. I got groups of people. I got groups of good people that I can go hang out with, right? I don't need all that shit. Yeah, so that's what I'm after, is truth and authenticity. And as I strengthen my trust in myself and my path unfolds, I'm not afraid to face these things and dive into them and see what the fuck they're all about. I mean, for God's sake, 5 years ago, I was in the depths of hell. I mean, straight up hell. So I've been in hell. I know I've been in it. What are they going to do to me? What are they going to do to me? I traveled all the corners of hell. I don't care. It doesn't matter, if I can pull myself out of that, then there's nothing that I should be afraid of to experiment with, observe, and then come to my own conclusions through my heart space and through my authenticity, and say, okay, this is right. This is now a part of me, or no, this is just another piece of bullshit or distraction or whatever else to keep me wrapped up in subservience and deification and cultish behavior and clinging to all the joys of every day of this world, and I just don't see it. But anyways, that's my experiment. I'm going to be going into my exorcism now, and whenever, whether it's tonight or tomorrow or whenever, I'll let you guys know how that went.